All right, well, this is 8/22/2025, and it's Friday. And I just turned on this one video from YouTube that says, watch before it's deleted. So I had to watch that one. Watch before it's deleted. I don't know what they're going to say that's going to make it deleted, but I guess I better watch it. Anyway, this is from... I don't know what actually where it's from or anything, but it's Jeffrey Sachs. Okay, and he's a smart guy. Okay, and look, the first smart thing that he said is right here. Look, I hope you can see it. Okay, it's okay. Is it innovating? You know, though, there should be a period there. No, a question mark there. Is it innovating? And then question mark. And then, are young people learning well? Okay. I just had to make that punctuation correction. Because actually, it should have 2 question marks. Is it innovating? And are young people learning well? All right, now, what that brings me to is the fact that he does a little comparison here between, for example, China and the United States. Okay, the difference between China and the United States is the United States has a lot of firepower, and China don't have shit. But China is the most industrious nation and probably the richest nation. Seriously, everything is built in China. The money that they bring in from export, overflows. China's a badass. And they've always been, actually, throughout their whole history. And some of it's been sad. Every history in the world has been sad. All right, so, just make sure you never fail to realize that. Every history in America, in the world that I know of has sad roots. Listen. All right. So anyway, but look, everything's in flux. I mean, nothing stays the same. Okay. First the thing is good, then the thing is bad. Whatever. I mean, first they're on the top, then you're on the bottom. Or maybe, first you're on the bottom, then you're on the top, and then you go back down to the bottom, and then you go, maybe if you're lucky, you got another chance to go back to the top. Anyway, whatever it is, But, so look, he's just going to give a brief description of where we are at right now in 2025. With everything that's going on. All the presidential bullshit. All the atrocity. All the crying babies. When I talk about babies, I'm not saying like less than a year old. I'm talking about like babies like at least like out to 4 years old. Maybe at 5 years old. Well, when I was 5 years old, that's when I can remember counting. So I guess I'm no longer a baby. But, I don't really remember a whole lot before then. So I guess that was when I was a baby. Alright, so here goes.
First, the most fundamental picture of an economy is it innovating? Are young people learning well? Are new technologies emerging? And is there a high saving rate? China checks all those boxes. In other words, the fundamentals are strong. The education system is strong. The saving rate is high. Innovation is rapid. And China is the low-cost producer of high quality advanced technologies, not across the board, but in many, many crucial areas. So this is not a weak economy, this is a strong economy. If I look at the United States, I have a lot different worry. The saving rate is very low, the budget deficits are enormously high, the debt is very high, and there's a lot of instability and no coherence of what America's trying to do. There's a lot of confusion. So I give China high marks on setting a clear path forward, investing heavily, and also designing a major program, which I strongly favor, the Belt and Road Initiative, in which China engages with a wide range of countries, especially in Southeast Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, Western Asia, Africa, and Latin America, to trade with those countries and for China to be the exporter of critical infrastructure for those countries, with China providing a lot of the financing because of the high saving rates. China has a significant trade surplus. The United States has an enormous trade deficit. How does one come to the conclusion that, therefore, that China is the country in economic crisis? I don't.
But the Financial Times, especially the Atlantic Council, I should say, claimed that China's economic reforms are nearing the end of the line and that progress has stalled or backslid. Similar criticism is found on Financial Times, for instance, about China throttling its private.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stop it there. He's taking stuff, from a lot of questions, stuff like that. So, but look, China. I want to tell you something about China. Right? China gives their people like a rating, like everybody in China society is rated. Okay, they look at all their social media, they look at all their phone calls, they look at all their emails, surveillance on everything. Okay. That's China. China has the iron thumb on their people. China is definitely not the land of the free. They are free and within very, very tight bounds. But nevertheless, the people ruling China seem to have, like enough progressiveness that they can harness the will of the nation. I'm just saying, all right, we don't want to be like China, but China don't want to be like us either. But what Jeffrey Sachs is saying is that economically China's doing good. But the thing that I wanted to point out was in the beginning, he said innovate. He used the word innovation, and the word innovation is the word that has been eluding me for a long time when I've been trying to advocate and assert as a good thing for you, my grandchildren, to adopt, is being able to look at things from a higher perspective. Okay, thinking outside the box, looking for the dialectical, synthesis, the answer. When you have two things that are both true, but they are opposite, what's the answer? There is one. There is an answer. Okay? And innovation is actually the word that I've been looking for. It's been eluding me ever since I've been talking about this. Because you gotta find a way when there is no way. All right. And I tell you, even right now, it seems to be almost like we're stuck in a rut, man. At least from my opinion, in this presidency. I hope we can get out of it, because it's going to crash the economy. It's going to make everybody hate each other. It's going to put everybody in fear. Government's going to, what it's going to be, it's a military strategy. It's called, it's not conquer and divide. It's called create a crisis to manage. Putin and Trump, you know, they're conquering and dividing. They're making, you know, all kinds of turmoil. All right, and they're creating crisis that they can then manage. Okay. I mean, they're creating the crisis, and then they're trying to take credit for resolving it. All right. And it's all orchestrated, and it's all a play to keep the rich people in power. It ain't got nothing hardly to do. They're gonna have us fighting over our freedoms and fighting over upholding the law and making everybody accountable to the law. But okay, while all that's going on, the rich stay rich, and the powerful stay powerful. The ones that are powerful are rich, and they're the ones that pay for all the ads, for all the TV productions, for everything like that. They can, with their money, you know, with their engine, they pump out the propaganda that they see fitting to govern society the way they want to do it for their own purposes. And that's really not the way that America started out. America has certain values that you can read if you look in the Declaration of Independence, for example. And I understand, and I haven't read it yet, but all right, on a news report I read somebody talking about George Washington's farewell address. So I have to read George Washington's farewell address because they said his concerns were kind of what we're going through today. All right. And these guys had the forethought to know what to look out for, okay? Because they've already been through the deep kimchi, you know? All right, coming out of Britain and everything, coming out of tyranny, and even when they're all by themselves, you know, they still have to pay money out. That's the way California feels. California's got to pay like 80 million out or something in taxes to the federal government. And then when they have a catastrophe, they only get like 40 back. Okay? It's like, come on. And they're basically a Democratic state, and then the Republican states, you know, they get the money. I'm just saying. Because, oh, look, man, I don't want to go into all that. I don't want to actually try to prove anything right now. All right? Because I don't believe in bullshit. But I mean, there is even a Republican state. I think it starts with an M. I think it wasn't Mississippi. Minnesota, maybe. I don't really remember, but they're like a Republican state, and then they had a catastrophe, like a flood, and you know, this administration sent them a letter, said that no help is warranted. They didn't get no FEMA help or anything like that. I don't know, Trump might have already got rid of FEMA anyway. I mean, he's getting rid of all that stuff. Look, it is what it is. People will eventually wake up and smell the coffee. So in my sign that I think I'm going to put up, I think now, under even a further revelation, you might say, because I can envision a sign hanging from my tree over there. I got a branch going out. I'm gonna hook 4 sheets of plywood together, and now this is my, not a rendition, but when every time you change, every time you review something and you change it. I don't remember what that's called, but it's my 4th edition or something, you know. This is my 4th edition, I guess. But I've changed it. Maybe my 4th revision. Okay, this is my revision, right? Now, I'm thinking that I will put up there on my sign, you know, think Think Blood and Nation. Because actually, see, that's actually, thinking Blood and Nation actually is fascist. Okay. Okay. And is because fascism is tied into nationalism. Well, at least that's how Hitler did it, anyway. That might not, fascism might, at the root, might not. Well, you got two trees of fascism, all right? You got Italy, like Mussolini, and you got Hitler in Germany, okay? And they kind of come from different philosophers, all right, in their thinking. And, you know, I think Hitler, I think, you know, I mean, he wrote a book, and I'm pretty sure in his book, you know, he talks about propaganda, and he says, you know, that you got to say something, and it don't have to be true. You just got to say it, and then you got to keep repeating it. All right? And that's how you make the narrative. That's how you produce the spirit of the people. They don't have to be true. Well, Hitler said that. All right. Anyway, but one thing that grabbed the spirit of the people, you know, is like blood and earth or something like that. It used to be like Hitler had it in one of his, I don't know, mantras or something like that, you know. It was like their slogan, you know, blood and earth or something like that, blood and land or something. And that meant, you know, their German blood, okay, and then the land that they occupied. But, you know, it goes, but like, okay, like it goes deeper in that, all right, the thought, all right, like, so in America right now, we got the slogan, Make America Great Again, MAGA. And that's President Trump, right? But, you know, the thing I'm going to point out is he ain't making America great again, all right? You know, he's making and he's like remolding America into an autocracy, right, in which he's a dictator. And then all the rich people are in control. And they'll even be in control because they're already bringing the military in to democratic cities to frighten people. And they are. People don't want to go out. And see, the president's saying just the opposite. He's saying, oh, everybody wants to go out now because they're finally free. No, they ain't. That's what he's promoting. See, that's propaganda right there. That's what propaganda is. It's a lie. He gets on TV and he lies about stuff. He lies about what the way things are. And people who stay in their house and don't even know any better, they just suck it all up as if that's really the truth. And they don't know shit. And he's talking shit. Shit is just flowing right out of his mouth. And people are licking it up, thinking it's apple butter. And it ain't no apple butter. It's pure shit. In fact, maybe I should put that on my sign. It ain't apple butter, it's pure shit. I think I might. Just, it was a good idea. Because sometimes you gotta say things, you know, that will make somebody remember because they get a picture in their mind of what the fact is. That's called emotional appeal. And so anyway, you know, Jeffrey Sachs, he uses the word innovating. You know, are we innovating? Are we helping our kids, you know, be innovating? Okay, and that's what the deal is. Innovation. That's the driving engine. Innovation. All right. That's looking higher, looking further, looking with a hope, working toward a goal. And I tell you, man, it's frightening right now. I'm going to do my part, you know, and it's my journal, written for my recollection and for you, my grandchildren. You know, I hope you can benefit from my experience, being that I am a primary source. It comes right from your own family, and I ain't talking no bullshit. Like I'm not talking any bullshit. That's for damn sure. Okay, well, but that's it. All right. I just wanted to say that, you know, I want to do this from my own recollection. I know that I want to make a sign out there, you know, think blood and nation. Oh, and okay, and then, you know, I'm going to say, you know, This is your blooded nation, the Declaration of Independence. You know? We are a nation of open borders where people came in from all different countries and tried to build a life with a spirit of equality and liberty and justice for all and the rule of law and doing everybody playing by the same rules and stuff like that. Freedom, you know, freedom to plot your own course, not have to do what you're being told to do when things should be at your free will. Okay? You know? And so that's what it is. And then I was going to say something else after I pointed out, look, if you're going to do blood and nation, then you got to do the Declaration of Independence if you're going to be a true American. All right. And I don't want us to be and we started out pretty good, you know, with a good motivation. Let's stick to it. Not going into any kind of bullshit and you know it smells like shit. The stuff that's coming out of the administration in Washington right now, what they're doing to us. They're doing it to us Americans. Okay? They're trying to change everything. One party, the Republican Party. All right. They're all kissing one man's ass. And I can't believe the heights from which they have fallen. I mean, it's hard. Look, all right. That's it. That's it. So I'm just going to call this one innovation because see, that's what the deal is for me. All right, on this talk, all right, innovation. The task at hand requires a lot of innovation. And I've been talking about the innovation that I'm going through, the iterations. Okay, that was another word. Okay, like additions and iterations. All right, I've been going through these iterations of what I'm going to post in my yard. I think I got it now, pretty much, kind of better anyway. At least I know where I'm going to put it better. All right. And, you know, like I said before, do what you can. All right.